Hello and welcome to the next in this little series of videos, video 11, looking at chi-square. Now, as usual, I have pre-populated a spreadsheet for us to use, so let's bring that up now. There we go. So the scenario for this is basically what I want to do is I want to look at the colour difference, colour preference difference between males and females. In other words, what is the difference between favourite colour, and is that difference statistically significant or not? So what I have here is some data that would possibly have come from a questionnaire, and in column A I have my gender column with 1s and 2s to represent females and males. You see from my key over here that 1 is female, 2 is male. Now obviously if I was doing this for real I would have another column or indeed more columns for people to select, and then I have favourite colour, and I've given my respondents the choice of 4 colours: blue, green, yellow and red, and you can see in that column there are 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s. Now I've stopped at number 17, but in reality if you'd conducted this questionnaire you'd probably find that you might get several hundred people answering this questionnaire, and so you'd have much more data than this. So what's the first step? Well, the first step is you need to work out how many females chose blue, how many chose green, yellow, red and so on and so forth, and you would do that by producing a pivot table. So to produce a pivot table, if we think back to some of the earlier videos, you would select the data that you're actually interested in. You can select all of the data by clicking on that little triangle up there between the A and the 1. Not really suitable for this because I've got my gender in, so I will just deselect all of that and actually select this data here. I would then go to Insert, Pivot Table and put that onto a new worksheet like so. And this gives me my pivot table dialog box. So favourite colour, I could decide that favourite colour was going to be in my rows, and there you see I've got 1, 2, 3 and 4, which if I go back to my data represents blue, green, yellow and red. And then what I need to do is just populate this with males and females, which I would do by dragging gender into columns and also into values, and then that gives me a little table there, so you can see 3 females chose blue and so on and so forth. Now obviously this is a limited data set, so what I have actually done, rather than using this data, I've actually made up another data set, but you would obviously use the pivot table, the data from the pivot table. You could go one step further and use percentages, but I'm just going to use the actual numbers here. So I have now my little table: blue, green, yellow, red in the rows. You can see the numbers female, male and total. You can also see that I've put the word in actual, because that is what we've actually got. But what might be the expected? What would you normally expect? Well, you would normally expect that males and females would have the same preference for blue, the same preference for green, the same preference for yellow, if this were in real life. So I don't know, our sample may be different, it may not be different. So the first step is to produce a table for expected values, and I'm simply going to use copy and paste. So I'm going to highlight my colours, right click, copy, come over here to that cell there, G1, and click on paste. That just copies those over. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to copy female, male and total and paste them into there, and then I've got actual there. So what I actually need up here is expected. Okay, so this is for what I would expect if the distribution was equal between males and females. So we have 34 blues, we have 30 greens, we have 34 yellows, we have 30 reds, and you could use Excel's mathematical functions to be able to do this simply by typing in equals 34 divided by 2, because there are 2 options, male and female here, and it would be 17 in each case. But you know, this is easy enough, so I'm just going to put in the figures myself. But you know, you can use Excel's mathematical facilities if you want. So very quickly, I have done my table, and there you can see what we'd expect if male and females equally chose the same colour. So 17 males and females would choose blue, 15 for green, 17 for yellow, 15 for red. So now to do the chi-square test. So go to the formulas tab, insert function, and then type in the search box chi-square. Brings up a number of different options, but what we actually want is this one here, chi-square.test, that one there. Click on OK, and it brings up this dialog box, and what it's actually asking for is the actual range versus the expected range. So the actual range is, simply highlight the male and female data and then move to the expected range and highlight the data there. Click on OK, and there is our p-value down there. So p-value 2.04059 minus 06. Okay, so what's that basically saying is that is a very, very small number. To get that into a number that actually is a little bit more meaningful, what we want to do is just format that cell and drop down to numbers and format it to 2 decimal places, and it comes up as 0.00. So what does that tell us? Well, that means that the p-value is 0, effectively, or very, very close to 0. In other words, it's under 0.05, which means that there is a statistically significant difference between the expected data and the actual data. So we can tell that there is a real difference between males and females. That's it for this video. Thank you very much.